Hey y'all, welcome to Eden's Vine today. I forgot I told you guys I was going to show you how to install one of these panels. Pretty quick and easy. I'm going to show you how I screw them in, and I'm just going to show you how I went ahead and measured those. I didn't take any, I didn't pull out the measuring tape on these. Okay, I didn't have to. I already had the panels pre-cut from the factory, so I just laid those on these Suntuf panels and measured them out, and I'll show you that too. Should be a real quick video. I'm not going to show you the whole install because it does take some time, and so you're going to want to give yourself a day or two to like get these in. If you have a couple guys, it'll probably go faster, but anyway, so all I'm doing is I'm running these, I call them ridges. I'm just running these ridges in here. It helps keep the form and shape of the Suntuf. And I already have these thin metal crossbars in here is what they gave me to maintain the rigidity and the structural integrity of this greenhouse. And again, I have this greenhouse bolted to railroad ties. Okay, so this is going through the base of the greenhouse. They say bury this in dirt, sand, or gravel or whatever. I chose railroad ties because they're heavy and we get a lot of wind, and that keeps it down out here. And then on the inside, I've got my paver bricks that are also helping to keep this down. You could embed this probably in concrete, although I was a little concerned about the expansion contraction there. So that's why I went this route. Again, focus is on getting these Suntuf panels on these walls. Okay, over here, first thing I did is I just took needle nose pliers and I removed all of these little clips that they've got. Okay, so I just put my needle nose there and pop them out, and then we've got the panel, pop the panel out, then just lay it up there. Take a, I'll actually measure these, but these I didn't need to. Okay, I'm going to show you how I do this. Okay, so we're at the bottom of this panel here. I'm going to affix the Suntuf to the bottom metal down there, and I'm going to use the screw and rubber washer that I can get at the depot that comes with this. It's got a 5/16 head on it. Okay, 5/16 on that head, and it's just going to go right into my impact, and I'm just going to drive it in. And on these Suntuf panel, on these ridges, they've got these little holes on them to line up the screw. So on these, they've got this little hole right here that the screw is going to go through. So it's going to go through the Suntuf, then it's going to go through this, and then it's going to go into the metal. Okay? And again, I'm using these ridges to keep the shape of the Suntuf. I don't necessarily have to, because I could just screw right into that metal, right? But I want that ridge there for a few reasons. To keep the shape, and I think, I'm not sure, you engineers let me know, but I think it'll help with vibration too, and dampening some of that vibration from the wind. So not entirely sure about that property, but I do know it'll help keep the shape. All right, so I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna find that hole the best I can, and on these at the bottom, I might actually have to miss that hole just a little bit and aim a little low. But I still want to make sure I'm going through that ridge. There. That's all there is to it. And I'm going to do that in a few places, and then when I get done, and if I know I have enough of these screws to finish the whole job, these metal tapping screws, once I know I have enough of these, then I'll come back and fill in all the gaps that I skipped. So like I'm skipping right there. Hope you guys can see that. Like, I skipped that one. I'm here. I'll skip that one. I'll go to the next one. There. I'll go around the other side. There we go. And then I'm going to put one on the end, so I'm not going to skip that one because I don't want it flapping in the wind. So I am going to go through this end piece. There. That'll keep that from vibrating. Now, I've got this ridge here in this metal bar. So I'm going to take one of these and put it in there. Now, the other thing about these is for this particular greenhouse, they don't fit with these tabs on the ends. But those tabs are there so that you can slide them together. Okay? They slide together. But I don't need them that long. So, and this makes it too long for the gap between my vertical bars in there, my vertical poles, beams, whatever you want to call them. And so what I do is I'm going to cut these tabs off. I'm going to throw that plastic away in the trash in the bucket. And so now my end looks like this, and then it just pops in there, and I'll show you what that looks like. And then it should hold it, and I'm going to come back and then drill it in. Alright, so see how it's holding there? And the reason it's holding there is because I got it fastened at the bottom and the top. And so there's enough, I guess, tension, force, pressure, whatever you want to call it, to hold that there without having somebody on the other side. And so now I'm just going to hit those centers. And that's it. And I'm going to go every other until I know I have enough self-tapping screws to get the job done. I like to slow down just a little bit because with these self-tapping, what I found is they get really hot. And if you get going too fast, you can burn a hole through this Suntuf stuff. That's especially true if, for whatever reason, this washer fails. So just be cautious and aware of that. Now again, the reason I'm doing this, and truthfully the reason I'm doing this, is because the fastening system that was on the product I bought is, for lack of a better word, maybe in a less windy place it would make sense. But here in Texas, it's trash. So I'm having to do a different fix here. And thus far, these Suntuf panels have held up to pretty high winds. So I'm not saying it would make it through a tornado or anything, but short of that, it's held up pretty good to some linear winds that we get out here and some wild gusts. But those other panels they just don't do it. All right, so those two panels are in. I'm happy with that for now. I'll come back and visit them in a minute. Next thing, I'm going to show you guys how I measured these out, and then I'll move to the other side and show you guys how I pop some of those old panels out. Now, some of them are already kind of coming out because of the wind and the vibration of the building that it has when these Suntufs aren't on here. Other thing is, like this corner, they make a product that will go over that corner. So I haven't yet gotten that far, but I will eventually get to this. We just had some wind knock out some of my panels. So all right, here we go. I'm going to show you guys how I measure this out. So this is my jigsaw puzzle here. These are the panels that came off over there. So for example, this is the edge that I just showed you guys. And then that piece, if you notice, is bigger, okay, for the taller side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a single panel off of here, off of my stack. So I got one. I'm going to move that to the side. And then I'm going to take this together. Oh, it's coming apart. Hang on one second, guys. All right, say hi to my neighbor's dogs. They're good little guys. They're little defenders. They got an ego complex though. They think they're much bigger than they are. Anyway, so I've got this laid out on here, and I'm going to make sure that the edge is lined up all the way down. It's pretty easy to do. It's not hard. So this is keeping me from measuring because I know that these panels fit in that gap over there. All right, and I'm going to leave a little overlap here on the edge so that my panels overlap nicely. If you don't do that, you get a little bit of torque at the top, and so I'll have to come in here and glue this up, which it'll glue up nice right there. I'm not worried about that. But right here, you know, it overlaps quite nicely. And so just leave that little bit, not much, just a hair all the way down. And then if this is all pushed together and you're lined up down there all the way across, you're going to be good up here. And so then what I do is I just take my Sharpie and I mark it. And I don't need this panel, so I'm not going to do it again. Take this Sharpie, mark it, mark it, mark it, mark it, mark it, mark it. And then once I've marked it, I remove it, and then I'll come back with my metal shears. And I like to use these rather than those, because these, when I cut, it keeps my hand out of the way of what I'm cutting. Okay, if I'm trimming it up, like if it's a little too big for the hole, I'll trim it using those other shears right there. Okay, all right, and so that's all I did. And I took those and I came and plugged them in. I tacked them at the top first. I tacked the highest corner, and then I'd make sure everything was lined up at the bottom. Once it's lined up at the bottom, then I would tack it over here, and then I tacked the whole top. And then I came down to the bottom, insert that piece in down there from the inside, tack that in, and then once that's in, these pieces in the middle will hold between the Suntuf and your horizontal bar. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If you guys have any questions, ask me in the comments. Now, next thing, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to show you guys how I remove these panels. Okay, so we're going to remove this panel, and we're going to use just some needle nose pliers to do that. And so I'm in here, and I've got the little clip. And so all I did is I grabbed, this clip is in there, and I grab it right here. I yank it, and once it comes out a little bit, I'll grab it here, torque it, and pull it out. And now that's one clip. I'm going to put this in my bucket. Now the reason that's going in the bucket is because I don't want to step on that and it go through my shoe, and it will. It will. Don't ask me how I know. And again, I'm not worried about damaging these. You know, I can use them to measure the next panel, because, yeah, I probably can use them to measure the next panel rather than pulling out the measuring tape. So I'll probably do that next and just see how one fits and go from there. And that's all it is. That's all it is. That's all there is to it. And then down here there are these little clips that they slide on. They slide on, and that's how it wants you to install it. And then that panel slips down in there. And again, I mean, those might work for your area. I don't know. You might be able to put adhesive around on these bars and kind of glue those panels in. But then if you do that, I would be concerned that you can't ever really replace them. And it might create problems for this Suntuf system going in if there's a lot of glue there that you've got to grind off or somehow remove. So there's one panel. I'm gonna keep going on this. I'm at least gonna do 2 of these. Okay, and then after that, I mean, it's just the same thing, you know. You're just getting this stuff off of here and measuring, cutting, and then readying your ridge and fastening the panel to the structure. And that's it. Really just a time game now, and it's a beautiful day. I mean, there's no wind out here today. Yesterday I was out here in the wind trying to change a panel that blew out. That was terrible. So I don't like wasting things, so if these panels are good, I'm gonna leave them in there, but they're just giving me too much of a hassle right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and, I guess, do some preventative maintenance here and just get these out of here. Not really too happy about it, because if they would have held up, I would have left them and not bought more Suntuf if that one side was just going to do it. It's a greenhouse. It doesn't have to, you know, this isn't sitting at the White House. Okay, this is sitting in my backyard, and I just need plants to stay warm and germinate. Okay, maybe if we were really eager to sell this place, I'd do the whole thing right away and just make sure it all looked pretty. But I just need it to work, and there's no real reason to dump extra money into this structure that's so far away from my house and just serves the purpose of germinating some seed for me, or cuttings. All right, so I got that. Let me show you how I measure one of these out now, and let's see if it fits. All right, so I've got this shorter piece here, so I don't want to waste, and I'm going to line up my factory edge. I'm going to just leave. I'm actually going to line it all the way up on that other side this time, because that's the side that's going to be on the edge of my building, and I don't want too much overlap. So there it is. So I'm actually going to line it right up. This is just for this piece. The next piece, I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap there, or I'm going to shift it over probably 1/8 of an inch or so. But right now I want it right up there next to it. There we go. And same thing on this side. It should hold its spot. There we go. And you can use a right angle for this, like if you guys really want to just take a tape to things. And I'm not going to judge you for that. That's fine. Okay, so I'm all lined up, and I'm going to take my Sharpie, and I'm doing this for you guys, so I'm kind of not holding this too tight. So hopefully it's okay. And just so you know, I had the Sharpie covering my mouth, so sorry you guys couldn't hear me, but there we go. But, all right, there. And we're gonna cut straight across that thing. So let's move it over to where we're gonna cut it. And I like to find a little seat to do this. So here we go. That's a good little seat right there. And I'm gonna put my gloves on because this stuff is a little sharp. It's not as sharp as the metal roofing panels. That stuff will cut you up, but this stuff still gets a little sharp. So I'm just gonna make sure I got my gloves on, the correct hands. Let me put them on right quick. Okay, here we go. I'm back. I still gotta kind of wiggle this one on a little bit because I can't press play. All right, and then here's our cut. Where is it? Right there. Okay, so I'm just gonna take these and cut straight down that line. And I'm gonna stay a little to the south of it, just because what I have found is popping these panels in can crack them. So being a little short is okay, but you don't want to be long. Being dead on is good too. So anyway, so you just continue like that all the way across the panel. I apologize, this isn't the best looking video. There we go. Okay, but you're actually seeing how it's done and how I'm going through this stuff. So you're going through it with me right now. All right. There we go. Okay. And we just want to see if this is going to fit in. And look at that. I'd say that's pretty good. And so we'll tack it. We'll tack it up here at the top and at the bottom. And at the top, I am going to have to hold one of those. I am going to have to hold one of those ridges in there to do that. All right, guys. So I promised you guys a short video. That one's not too long. I'm sure you guys can figure the rest of it out. When I get done with this, I'll show you what it looks like. Not doing the roof because, again, I want to make sure that I really need it before I deal with it. And the roof seems to be holding just fine as long as the sides hold. So maybe it's the wrong decision. We'll find out. But anyway, these Suntuf panels are doing a great job. So you guys get out there, have some fun. If this is something you want to do, if you have questions for me, leave them in the comments. If you like what we're doing and you appreciate it, like or subscribe. That's a big help to us, guys. We really appreciate it when you do that. Without your support, this doesn't continue. So thank you very much. All right, so this is the north side. I still got some fasteners to add over here, so I'll go get some more of those and add those later. But this has been this way for a little while now. It's been okay through a few storms. This side looks good. You know, got fasteners in most places. Still got a few more to add, so I'll go get another bag. But that's looking good right there. And then all the way down the side. So that's it. Pretty short video, but these Suntuf panels have been tested now a little bit, and I'm feeling pretty comfortable with them. Again, not saying they'd make it through a tornado or anything like that, but some straight line winds, they've handled that thus far. So there's that, and eventually we'll do the roof, but I'm gonna wait till those wear out or start flying off of here, which hopefully isn't anytime soon. They've been pretty good up until now. So and they usually don't come off. Like that one only came off when the side panels go, so it's like the side panels go first and then the roof. But again, I'm not going to say that that's going to last forever. All right, front, we'll get to that another day. I still have some more Suntuf panels here, so we'll start working this side out tomorrow or another day. I'm not sure if I'll get to it tomorrow, but anyway, you guys saw how to build this, and that was the main purpose. But I want to show you what it looked like when it's done. They're clearer panels. Again, you know, you guys got to monitor the temperature and humidity inside your own greenhouses, and I think these are going to do just fine for me, so I'm okay watching the temperature spikes with this clear glass, so it'll be good. It's not glass, it's like a polymer. All right, you guys have a nice day.